Action. Stick to my action. Welcome to my vlog. So the first question is, can you talk about what your mother looks like in your memory, and what was your family upbringing like the family education?
My mom has very curly hair and quite a cute style. She was wearing little trainers. But when I was younger, she was always dressed up very fancy, wearing high heels, business suit, looking very smart. She was away quite a lot, so I lived away from my mum when I was growing up because she was working. So I think a lot of my work ethic I learned from my mum quite young because she always gave up a lot of leisure time for her work. She was working a lot. And I saw her in a very businesswoman capacity when I was growing up, I'd say. So that's what I learned from her.
My mom is shorter than me. I probably have hair like her, curly and wavy. She has dimples, so she smiles a lot. And she always says that every time she smiles, people smiles. And I think that's a bit narcissistic, but I agree because I've got that trait. She tries to brighten up her room with her presence. I don't know if it's her Leo star sign, but she does have a bit of one. And something that I learned from my mom was also work ethic. My mom would work 6 days in the week, and she'd dress up, do everything, and always, I guess she was so busy that even I never saw her as well. And I was just it's a bit sad, but she was a working woman, so yeah.
What she was like in my memories. You mean when I was younger?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's quite tall, so she's quite. I always remember her as quite she's tall and slender. So I remember her being quite kind of elegant, and she was. I have very fond memories of her. She was very kind and she had a good sense of humour, and she could also be quite strict. So she's quite strict about things like not watching TV or not going on the computer, and kind of eating healthily. She was quite a lentil mum, so the only snacks we would have in the cupboards would be nuts or cereal or uncooked chickpeas. But yeah, overall.
Yeah, so the next question is, what kind of relationship do you have with your mother, and how do you perceive the impact of this relationship on you?
My relationship at the moment, throughout my life, has been very good. I've always, she's been the person that I call if I'm having difficulty with something, and she's always good at kind of giving advice. I would say as I've gotten older, I've become a bit more kind of comfortable with telling her things, being more honest. I probably, usually as teenagers do, hid quite a lot when I was a teenager. But when I was kind of around 17, then became a lot more open with her. Yeah.
So become more like a friend after 17?
Yeah. Maybe I still feel like I definitely see her more as my mother than my friend. I know some of my friends who are very much have an incredibly open relationship with their mum. I do too, but I don't talk very frankly with her about things like sex or whatever. It's still slightly detached in that way, as more of a mother on you.
Okay.
Yeah, so
my relationship with my mum has definitely improved since my sister moved out. When my sister left for university, my mum and I became very close. We became closer than when I was a kid. We didn't have that kind of mother-daughter bond. I had that bond with her mother, so I think there was a bit of a rift because when I was a kid, I'd wake up in the night and I was sick. And instead of my mum, I didn't really want her to be there. I wanted my grandma. So that's like who I had that maternal bond with. But now, like, my mum always says she's a better parent to adults than she ever was to children, because my mum is my friend. Like, I can like understand what she's going through, and we bonded a lot over the last few years. But that's definitely been on a kind of adult to adult level rather than child and grown up.
My relationship with my mom was, so the first 4 to 5 years of my life, I didn't live with her. I lived in the Philippines with my aunties, so I was always like, "Who's my mom? Oh, that's my auntie." Like it was very. I grew up with a lot of women looking after me, and I think when I asked my mom if she was worried that I wouldn't be close to her, she said yes, and it kind of hurt my heart because I was just like, I felt like she should have never felt that she felt distant. She should have always been like, "That's my daughter," da, da, da. But she definitely felt distance when I first arrived in London. And then growing up, it was all good, but I could tell that she was, because of her job, she was very tired a lot, so she wasn't as active or like fully in my life. But as soon as I hit like puberty, I felt like we were constantly fighting, and I felt like maybe I was being bitchy, or maybe it was just like it was puberty, but it was just constant fights, and we were always bickering. Like it was never really nice until one day I don't know, I guess I just woke up and was like, "Oh, sorry." Like I felt really bad, and I did apologize. Like, "Sorry, I was such a bitch."
So the third question is, how do you view the power of motherhood, and how does the maternal power manifest in yourself?
In myself.
Yeah.
Something as I get older is something I think about more. It's definitely still in the future though, not now. But definitely seeing less my mum, more my grandma. The way that she had her first son when she was 17, so her whole life has been motherhood really, and up until she was raising me as well. So her whole life has been devoted to raising children, and I like that idea of having a big family and having lots of children to look after. And when I'm old, being surrounded by children, sitting in a room full of people and being like, "I did that, you know." But it's definitely not a now thing. But I don't know whether that's because I'm not like, for example, I guess people who have pets, I know people who have dogs feel a maternal instinct though, don't they, towards their puppy or their dog, right? I'm not that kind of person, so I haven't got that experience hands-on with something now. But I think that I will have children, probably, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, I guess being an only child, I never really thought like of having kids. Sorry. I never really thought of like having kids until I realized, oh shit, my parents are gonna be like, when they get old, they're gonna expect me to have like kids. And then my mom gave me like a 5-year.
Oh my god.
A 5-year was like, by the time we're in the Philippines, we're gonna wait 3 years and you better have like kids.
Grandchildren.
I was just like, oh my god, like, But I think it takes a lot to say that you'll be like a good mom. You can't wait to be a mom or something, because there's things that I want to experience.
So true.
But it's just like, I get nervous when I let time pass, because like like females who like wait too long and then they start to realize that they can't have children.
That's a fear.
That's a fear that I have, and I don't ever want to be like,
it's not in this life.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking back on it and thinking I wish I'd done that, but then
I also want to be in the right position.
I also don't want to resent a child because I didn't have time to chase my ambition and do my own thing. I don't want to feel like, some people have children in their 20s and they go, I could have done this if it wasn't for you. I don't ever want that to be a conflict, so I've got to live my thing first.
I wouldn't want to bring a child and know that I'm not like ready, or like the situation isn't good. Like I want to be, I guess you would say stable, but like I want to be stable. I want to be able to say that this is our house and not have struggles.
And definitely be in the mental place to raise a child where I don't impact trauma on a child. Like,
Really like a big family, like 6 kids. I think I'm probably like quite naive in thinking about how much work that would actually take. But I would like, I have 2 siblings, so I definitely want like multiple children. And yeah, but I'd also like to be like, I'd like to be like a very active, present mum, and like quite a fun mum. I mean, that's easy to like say when you're young, like, yeah, I'll be a fun mum, and then you actually have to start looking after the children, and you're like, wait, actually, I have to be a bit more serious. I think it is interesting though, because like obviously a big topic of social discourse is obviously like, can you be both a career woman and have a family? You have to like pick one or the other. And then some people, because there's like different ways of empowering that, which is like, one version is put your career before your family, or another version, because like there's different iterations of like feminist takes. One of which just like put your career first before you like start pushing out children. Another one which is you don't have to choose, you can do everything. And then obviously there's like the kind of like counter take, which is you can be a mother and that's all you need to do. And I think like I'm more propelled towards like you can do both, but I think like being realistic about what's feasible, because at the end of the day the most important thing is that like you're happy and content. And I think, well, maybe because we do like an artistic discipline and that's like our career, then it feels, and it's a bit more, or obviously it's like a little bit more like freelance oriented, but it does feel like capable to do both. Obviously like the work would have to take a back seat when like in the middle of like rearing children, but yeah, I'd always want to, as long as I'm creating art of some kind throughout, then and I have like enough money to live on, then I'm not too fussed. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the next question is, based on your impressions and understanding, in what aspects do you think the difference in family upbringing between Eastern and Western cultures manifest?
the contrast between the two.
Yeah, your
I don't know
impressions.
how well I could comment on that, because I'm not at all acquainted with obviously the Eastern side of it. I only know my own experience. So I don't know how much I could say in contrast to one way or the other. Because even my mum's quite lenient with things. She's quite chilled. Because her parents are quite hippie. They don't really... She just... As long as I was safe and telling her where I am, doing this, that, the other, she was quite chilled. But compared to even people who had more conservative parents, who were more strict, even in the West, there is those contrasts. But I found that people whose parents were very strict, for example, or very like, you need to know where you are, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed to go out, they would be the ones who'd go the most feral, go the most crazy. Because at home, and even when we were kids, like people's parents who were like, you can't have sweets and you can't have a sleepover. When we go on a school trip, they'd be fucking crazy. Like, why can you not behave yourself, you know? But I think it's because if you're strict, it's like if your parents always say no, you're going to be like, well, I'm going to do what I want anyway. Whereas my mom, she would always say to me, like, she tried, when I was a teenager, when it comes to going out, like, I'd be allowed to go to the club, but my mum would be picking me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, so I just stopped.
No.
But she'd say, like, I always say yes, because if I say yes to you, then you're going to tell me where you are, and you're going to trust me with these things, and if I say no, then you're just going to go behind my back, so there's no point. So I thought, I don't know about East and West, but a contrast between kind of a more strict and more kind of on your back, and then a more kind of do what you like, but tell me the truth, is basically what my mum was like, and I think that worked quite well.
For me, I guess I can comment on East and West because I am Asian, so it's just, oh my day, I think it was just so tough having them to be strict and constantly be like, where are you, what time are you coming? Like, I didn't want to do anything with them because of how much I hated the fact that judging me for my lifestyle Like, I remember saying, you can't judge me and my lifestyle here in London because you're the ones who brought me here to live here. If you wanted me to be a certain way, you would have left me in the Philippines and I would have grown up there. Because I know for a fact, if I stayed in school in the Philippines, I'd be a little bit more smarter. I wouldn't have a closer relationship to them now. And God knows I'd be pregnant and married by 20 because that's how you meet people. And I think that whole conversation with my parents about what my life would be like in the Philippines compared to here is like, it shouldn't even be a tough discussion. It's just what it is. Because it's just like, if you grow up here, of course you're going to be different. Because London is completely different to where I am from the Philippines. So when I'm with my family, they know I'm different and they don't judge me for it, which I like.
I think I don't know too much about sort of like Eastern Asian upbringings, apart from like kind of through my friends, but even still, I mean, maybe I just have like quite them probably like stereotypical views of what it's like to grow up in a household. I mean, I've had like people tell me that like to maybe the parental style is slightly stricter or more kind of maybe there's more of an emphasis on like the conventional family model, and like I think in the UK at least, like it's very normal to like leave home immediately at 18 and then like not live with your parents again. Although obviously in the cost of living crisis in London, then actually people are like, actually no, I have to live at home, so I can't afford to live anywhere else. But from like my friends from Asian households, and it'll be like, oh no, you're expected to live at home until either you marry or like you're a bit older.
Okay, so the last one is, what do you believe constitutes true gender equality? What do you think the future holds for women?
Oh God, the future. Yeah. Terrifying. I think we are going to go backwards slightly. I'm frightened about the future generation of men, to be honest. I'm really scared about men who've grown up with social media as an influence, like just the online digital world. People who were teenagers in lockdown. The way that men seem to view women, like by what they're, even what I see online about the way that young boys are like viewing women, and the fact that the parents have no control or even knowledge of what it is that they're looking at is terrifying. So I don't think that it's all going to be like, okay, yeah, so much stuff has improved, but I'm frightened that it's not going to carry on improving, that we might go backwards in a way. But I think the idea for me of true gender equality is that it's not special that a woman's done something that's good. Like at the minute, it's like, wow, look at this work made by a female artist. Look at this made by a female filmmaker. Like,
That's very true.
wait till somebody just makes something good and it's good because it's good, not because... Also, I think when it comes to the art world, sometimes, I used to chat about this a lot, about how men can do something quite fucking average and everyone's dying. They're like, wow, he's an artist. Oh my God, he's a man and he's an artist. Oh my fucking God, this is crazy. And then a woman would do something amazing. It's like, oh, just another girl painting or another girl doing...
Yeah.
Where's this? I think as much as we need to boost women, we also need to stop glorifying men just for doing the bare minimum, because this happens and it doesn't help, does it? It's true though. I'm saying facts. I think not always. I'm not saying men aren't good and stuff. They are amazing, and that obviously is a part of equality. But I think as much as we need to boost women, we need to stop falling over ourselves when men just do things that women are also doing. Yeah. Because if we make them an elevated, we've also then got to elevate. Do you know what I mean? Elevate everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, this gender thing, like, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't really a big problem until I came to London and realized how deep it was. Because in the Philippines, we don't have like he or she, we just have them. Like, it's a general term for everyone. So if I was trying to say, oh, she went to the shop, nagpunta sa shop. Like there would be no he or she. There's
That person.
Yeah, that person's gone. Like there was none of that when I grew up, and honestly, the Filipino like family dynamic. Like I read it in a book when I was on holiday that the community has always been ran by women and men have been there on the side. So when I heard that, I was just like, you know what, that's true, because it's a very matriarchal society. Like yes, we have a president and he's a man or whatever. At the end of the day, it's the wife who has the last
And
say.
it's interesting, like what you were saying to me, even when we were having a conversation about like our dads.
Yeah.
You were like, my dad was cooking. I'm like, really?
Yeah, because it's very
in my family, women very much run the family, and the woman is valid, but they're doing the cooking, they're tidying up, and guarantee when people are being served or talking about the head of the table, father, son, daughter, mother. That's how the hierarchy goes, which is weird.
For
But
me,
you were telling
it
me
was
it's quite
very,
communal.
it's very communal and very equal. Like,
Yeah.
if the women are cutting vegetables on the inside, the men are cooking on the fire and they're doing the dishes and whatever. So there's never been a case of like, it might be different for each Filipino family. Like a dad might not do anything, but I know majority of my family, they've always done something to help the women. So for me, when this whole gender equality and I was like, it's not really a problem that I realized. Like, I know what it means for like the pay wage gap and all sorts like that, and like you're giving a woman disadvantage because she gets pregnant and maternity leave and stuff. When I'm looking at the aspects of just working, I never really saw much difference, because a woman could outdo a man any day, or a man could outdo a woman any day. So to me, it was just like, it's on the individual. So we've never really like, in the family, it's never been like, he's the man of the house, he needs to go get a job, make money, and because the women be doing that on the side as well. So it's never been like,
So it's a split effort.
yeah, it's very split in the family, even outside the family. Because you could always tell, like if a man's working on the farm, the woman's also working in the house. It's never been like one's working, one's not working. There's always someone's doing something.